Hey y'all, Coach Tim here, and I had a question from a coaching member around cold approach, topic of cold approach, and he wanted to have some information on how to cold approach properly. And I don't know if you all know this, but I started out coaching with this idea that I wanted to help myself and also other guys learn how to cold approach really well. And that's kind of where I started leading this coaching program. But I found it to be a very, very difficult place to start. And that's why I've changed a lot of things around and how I'm coaching people these days. Because it's just a it's a battleground in some ways, emotionally, for a lot of people. It's a lot to take on when you're first wanting to get out there and experience meeting and creating relationships in public. So I don't really recommend it for people who are just starting to get in the program. I think joining and building your social network is a much easier, simpler way of doing that. And that's what I coach in my current program. I help people figure out strategies on how to do that. But I had a current member who has been doing that, and now he's wanting to know a little bit about cold approaching, and he asked, what's the right way to do it? Can you show me some examples? So I put together this video because I want to really talk about the actual mechanics of cold approaching, what's actually happening underneath the hood. So I want to address cold approaching. And because he was asking, is there a right way or wrong way to do it? My response is that the mere fact that you think there's a right way or wrong way to do this shows that you feel that there's a way other than what you would do, or maybe there's an optimal way that's better than anything else. And in other words, you're making this into a problem before this problem has actually occurred. And the reality is that there is no right way or wrong way to cold approach a woman. And you will continue to perceive you're doing it the wrong way until you actually give up the belief that there's actually a right way or a wrong way to do it. If there's anything that needs to be changed here, it is your perspective. And if you can take a step back and maybe imagine an approach scenario with a total stranger, and in this scenario that we're making up, you have total control over how you feel, how you act, what you say. How can you see this interaction unfolding in a way that is completely comfortable, completely empowering, and completely fun? Think about that. Just imagine this scenario where you have total control over it, and see how you might act differently than what you're fearing you're going to act. What if instead of imagining you're coming in with a deficit, which is what your fear brain wants to tell you, imagine you're coming in with a ton to offer. And sure, maybe there's things in your life right now that aren't perfect, but there are a lot of things that you're building right now that are very valuable. All of my coaching clients, they're out there building their own lives. They're investing in their interests. They are learning where to draw the boundaries around their value. And it's really from this value that you have to lead your efforts if you're going to be doing a cold approach. So just imagine going up to a woman and knowing, like, as you're walking up to her, you're thinking to yourself, I know I'm a pretty cool guy. I know that I got a lot of cool stuff going on, and I'm wanting to talk to this woman because I find her attractive, and I want to tell her a little bit about that, in some way, in some form. So if I were doing this, I would not be coming in with any kinds of tools or strategies or pickup lines. I would just be putting myself in front of her and saying, "Hi, how's it going? My name is Tim. I saw you. I thought you looked really pretty. I had to talk to you." And at that point, I would just be looking to see if she's actually interested in talking to me. I mean, it really comes down to that. So yeah, leading with your value. But there is a little catch, and this involves the other person. If you're leading from this place of value, where you're walking up to her and you're completely present with your own value and your own self-worth, and the other person isn't responding well, isn't desiring this value at that moment, then any attempts to force, coerce, or manipulate this value onto them will consequently decrease that value that you're offering. So, if you're in there trying to, in some ways, advocate for your value to this woman, trying to convince this woman, it will decrease your actual value. So, yes, as I mentioned, if someone is challenging you in a cold approach situation, you must defend your value internally and not coercively. So there's a big difference here. Okay, if somebody is not interested in your value and is maybe challenging you, and women will do this, by the way, and women will challenge you. And it's very strange because it doesn't seem like it, but women will actually challenge you when they're actually more interested. If they are not interested, they will probably just blow you off and walk away. And from that point, you also want to walk away because you need to defend your value and you need not pursue no longer. But if a woman challenges you, it's generally because she's curious about you and she wants to see what you're actually made of. So defending your value at that point is something you're going to just do on your own terms. You're not going to try to advocate. You're not going to try to coerce her into believing her. You're not going to be trying to make a case that you have value, because that's going to make you lose your value. So, an example of this is, say I approached a woman and I was acting very bold, perhaps, and she'd be like, maybe challenge that boldness in some kind of way by, giving me maybe like a slight kind of little insult or something. My response to that, my defense of my value would be to not allow her challenge to affect me. Because I know my challenge, I believe my challenge, I know my value at the heart of me. So my way of defending it is by coming back and owning my value and sticking to my truth. So it's not a matter of like, I have to make you believe that I have value here. It's more so I know I have value, and any challenge you throw my way is not going to offset my value. It's not going to offset what I have to offer in this world. So think about that, guys, because this is something that can be so simple and so easy. A mere going up, saying hi, seeing if this person is actually interested in the value that you have to offer the world. It really comes down to the basics with everything. So good luck with that. And this is probably not going to be the end of my cold approach rants. I probably have a whole bunch more, but this is a good start.